Hi, it's Maggie the Irish Gypsy here to bring you your January 2020 mid-month general readings. So we are looking at the last half of January 2020. This reading is for the water sign of Scorpio. That's Scorpio sun, moon, rising if your Venus is in Scorpio or if you are cross-watching for Scorpio. But if you know your other signs, watch them all, sun, moon, rising, Venus, because they can each provide something different to what's going on in your life and give you a bit more insight and clarification on whatever the situation is that you're kind of looking for guidance in. And if any of you are interested in reaching out to me for a personal one-on-one reading for yourself or as a gift for friends, family, and loved ones, you can click on the description link below for more information and contact details. You can email me directly at maggie1mcguire@gmail.com. I do offer a wide variety of readings in all the main areas of life. And in addition, I also do 6 and 12-month overviews, which take a look at what's coming in all the main areas of your life over the next 6 or 12 months, depending on how far ahead you want to look. Always popular towards the end of one year and the beginning of another, because people want to take a look ahead, although you can order them anytime. You can do that, of course, anytime you want to, but you know, the end of one year and beginning of a new year, I always get a lot of requests for them. And in addition to the love and romance readings I do, I also offer relationship compatibility readings for an already current relationship or romantic connection. And I also do the same for career, work, and finances, and general health and well-being. Okay. Welcome everyone. Welcome to newcomers and welcome back subscribers. Thank you for all that you do in support of this channel. I hope everyone is continuing to have a really nice transition into this new year, which is still pretty much spread out in front of us. So let's see what lies ahead for the last half of January for Scorpio. For those of you who want or need to know, I am using the Gilded Tarot by artist Ciro Marchetti. So Scorpio, we begin with the moon, followed by the 5 of Swords. Feeling a similar energy already to your sister signs, Cancer and Pisces. Similar energy. We have the 8 of Wands, followed by the 10 of Wands, and from the bottom of the deck, overall energy is the Queen of Cups. Your energy, Cancer, Pisces, Scorpio, Sun, Moon, or Rising. Cups is governed by the element of water, which is your primary element. Queens and Kings represent individuals who have matured and grown to the top of their suit, meaning that through the page energy, through the night energy, they've reached a place now of maturation and growth where they have a much more balanced and responsible and self-discipline and self-control in regards to the character traits inherent or natural to their suit. Water energy is emotional energy in the tarot. So this is the Queen of Cups, the Queen of Water, the Queen of Emotions. Now, it looks like you are just kind of sitting in your own, you know, who you are, just being exactly who you are, not trying to be anybody else. You may also be keeping your emotions more to yourself. The Queen of Cups is quite aware of, in tune, in touch, and aware of her own emotions and the emotions of people around her, which is why she's such an emotionally sensitive person. She's also very spiritually intuitive, and she's a great source of support, comfort, and feedback to everyone in her life. She feels things very deeply, but because she's a queen, she often is pretty good at either keeping them inside or not displaying too much. Although she is known for being an emotionally sensitive sort of person. I sort of get during this time period, Scorpio, at least for the last half of January 2020, a bit of a pensive, sort of a bit of a sad, pensive, almost waiting kind of energy. I don't always get that from this card, but I am. She's standing there. I almost feel like it's on the prow of a ship or the deck of a very high, you know, patio or balcony. For some reason, I feel like she's looking over, yeah, it is a body of water. And And that cup is her emotions, her love, her emotions. And she's holding it just kind of in front of there. She's not clutching it to herself like she's not willing to offer it or give it away. And she's not holding it out to anybody specific, or it's kind of like she's just standing there waiting, watching, waiting for something. This waiting, a bit nostalgic or poignant, pensive kind of energy. Interesting. I don't always get that from the Queen of Cups. But that's what I have for you, Scorpio, for the last half of January. And that's from the bottom of the deck, which represents just kind of your general overall energy for the last half of January. So let's take a look at this. We have the Moon and the Five of Swords. Five of Swords came up for Pisces too. I don't remember if it came up for Scorpio, although the energy for all three of your water signs, all three water signs, is very similar. So we have the Moon clarified by the Five of Swords. So the Moon. The Moon's a tricky card. It can represent a lot of different things. Our subconscious, those stirrings in our gut, spirituality, listening to your intuition, but it can also be about a lack of clarity, a lack of real knowing, because the Moon is cloudy. It's kind of a ethereal, unknown sort of energy, and it can sometimes show our fears in an unrealistic light. For example, the Moon sheds light, the Sun sheds light. But when the Sun comes out, it clarifies everything. It illuminates, clarifies everything. It banishes the sunlight. It banishes the shadows. The Moon sheds light too, but it's a different kind of light. Sometimes it's a thin, watery light, except at the full moon time. But its light casts shadows. It illuminates some things, spotlights some things, but there's a lot of shadowy corners and hidden recesses. So it can represent fears that, there's nothing in the dark that isn't also there in the light. But it can show it in it can create shadows and shifting things we're not sure of. So it can make our fears or concerns, which are just kind of there anyway, seem even, bigger or worse or unrealistic, like that gnarly old tree that sits in the back of your backyard. Under the light of the Moon, it can look like a bear or a monster when it's really just a gnarly old tree. So the Moon can sometimes magnify our fears in an unrealistic sort of way. It does represent feelings, subconscious feelings, or feeling kind of spiritual intuition, but not being exactly clear. Why? I think Pisces in this position, or in that similar same of energy, got, the Hanging Man, or maybe it was Cancer. I don't know. The water signs for the last half of January, they all have this kind of similar connection. So what clarifies the Moon is the Five of Swords, which Pisces did have, a hard-won victory. This man has just finished a battle, a challenge of some kind. He's gathered up all his opponents' weapons, meaning their ability to hurt him can sometimes represent taking your power back from unhealthy people or selfish, negative, toxic people, perhaps freeing yourself from relationships. It doesn't perhaps feel like a victory at the time. He's just won, but he doesn't look victorious. He looks tired, worn out, exhausted. He's got a little cut on his forehead. This has not been easy. Sometimes the greatest victory we can win, even when it's about other people, is inside of ourselves, our own thoughts and ideas, which swords represents in the tarot. It's governed by the element of air, and it's all about our ideas and thoughts and belief systems, what goes on in our heads. So there's perhaps some fears, a lot of maybe doubts, insecurities, a lack of specific clarity over perhaps a decision that we have made or are struggling to make, and what that means for our future moving forward. Usually when we have fear and concerns about something, it's about what the outcome of something is going to be, how something's going to play out, which we can't see. So perhaps you've made some decisions, or you've been through something difficult, which even if you don't feel like it's a victory, it does represent a victory, because it frees you from something that was not healthy for you, whatever it was, and it puts you on a path potentially of obtaining what you want. And that's what Spirit wants for you, joy and fulfillment and happiness. But right now it feels unclear. It doesn't feel like much of a victory if you've already made the decision. Some of you may be struggling to achieve a victory in this, and maybe what's holding you back, because this was the case, I think, a little bit for Pisces and a little bit for Cancer, is having clarity, having an opportunity to make a decision to create a more healthy path for yourself, which is always what Spirit wants for you, but maybe holding back because there's a lack of clarity about the future, and well, if I do this, then what's going to happen in my future, and what if I stay alone for the rest of my life, or what if I never find, you know, another job that, or another person that, you know, fill in the blank, whatever it is for you. And so holding back from doing that, holding back from achieving, putting yourself on a much, much better path, which Spirit wants and is providing for you. But holding back from that because you're afraid if you let go of one thing that there won't be anything else. But that's never the way that it is. That's just our fears, those unrealistic, those shadows kind of casting doubts and fears. So next to that, so that's around the middle of the month, perhaps the third week of the month, timing always being somewhat fluid and never more so than a general reading because there's so many of you watching. So around the last week or so of the month, we have the Eight of Wands and the Ten of Wands. So the Eight of Wands is communication, travel, forward movement, conversations, powerful, swiftly, moving ahead swiftly, bringing about the end of, or getting right at the end of a very difficult cycle, a very heavy burden. It looks like there is a lot of change or the opportunity for change because you're going to be laying a burden down or having the opportunity to do that towards the end of the month, which was very similar to Pisces. That's when their energy shifted as well too, and a little bit for Cancer. You know, it's kind of like around the end of the month you just decide, you know, maybe I don't have all the answers, but I'm just going to make the best decision that I can knowing what I know, and I'm just going to focus on moving ahead and maybe thinking or focusing on something else instead of dwelling so much on this, which in a way keeps you chained to it. So it looks like there's a lot more different focus and movement around the last week of January 2020, Scorpio. And you are going to be laying a burden down. Whatever this is, or there's going to be the opportunity, some kind of movement, conversation, communication is going to be coming in, perhaps some travel coming in, that's going to free you from a burden I think you've been carrying for a long time, whatever this burden actually represents in your life. Or it will present the opportunity for you to. Because I feel like whatever the situation is, whether it's work, whether it's relationships, I think this has been a cycle that's been kind of going back and forth and back and forth and back and forth for quite a long time. You've held up pretty well with it, but it's heavy. I mean, this man can't even stand up straight, but his head is up and he is looking at this the place where he can finally lay this burden down, be free from it. And that's what Spirit is providing you. But again, therein lies the struggle. Let's see what this struggle is. What is this battle? Now, it may be for some of you, as it was with Pisces, that this struggle was in relationships and a relationship pattern or a way of behaving and thinking. Got a jumper here. What's the struggle about? It's about the Lovers. It's about a pretty significant, important choice, either about a relationship or whether that was going to affect your a relationship or your relationship life. Perhaps someone you felt very passionate and connected to, or that you just kind of couldn't let go of, and a lot of conflict around this decision. That's what this struggle is about. For some of you, the decision, perhaps you've made it already. Some of you may be in the midst of struggling with making this decision, feeling very conflicted about a decision you have to make about a primary relationship, about the love and romance area of your life, you know, someone that you obviously feel very passionate, very connected to. So for many of you, this is a relationship reading, or, you know, it's about something that's going to affect your primary and significant relationship. But there will be an opportunity to choose a path that's going to put you on a path of creating a healthier and more joyful reality for yourself if you choose to, because as I often say, we live in a free will zone. Spirit and your angels and guides might say, here's this other path, the door is open, take it, this will be better for you, but you can choose another path, different lessons. Higher message from Spirit. What is the advice for Scorpio for the last half of January? Very similar again to your other sister sign, your two other sister signs, Cancer and Pisces. Your advice from Spirit, the Ten of Pentacles, right behind it's the Ace of Pentacles. This is about focusing on your stability, focusing on what on the Pentacles area of your life. It could be just diving into work, into projects, whatever makes you feel stable and secure in your life, which is what Pentacles is about. Pentacles is governed by the element of Earth. So in the Tarot, Pentacles is often about the physical structure of our life. What makes us feel stable, secure, safe, gives us a sense of continuity. Finances, money, home, property, job, long-term stable relationships, comfortable things around us, you know, the things that we feel that make us feel stable in the physical structure of our life and the efforts we put into acquiring those things. So as advice from Spirit, it's about building up your long-term security and stability. This can be work, saving. The Ace of Pentacles is perhaps a new job, projects. It's again, the energy as advice from Spirit is pretty much the same for all three of the water signs for the last half of January, and that is to devote yourself, make decisions that are going to increase and grow what makes you feel stable and secure in life, even if it's just a distractive measure right now, because whatever situation you have been involved in here, particularly if it's relationship, it could be job though, if it's unstable and it doesn't make you feel like you have enough stability and security, and it doesn't look like it's forthcoming because, you know, you've been at it for such a long time and nothing else is forthcoming, then you need to make a decision to put yourself on a path that is going to lead you to long-term deep roots in stability and security, whether that's in finances, material property, job, career, relationships, because you can't be happy on a path where you're constantly wanting or what you have isn't enough and doesn't make you feel relevant or important or safe enough in your world. So Spirit is asking you to kind of focus on that during this time period, which can simply translate into new projects, just kind of throwing yourself into work, any new opportunities which are coming, you know, the Ace of Pentacles can represent a new project or a new opportunity that's coming to you during this time period that they're suggesting you take. Not only will it help kind of distract you from this, but it has the potential to grow into something quite beautiful, because here's the Ace and here's the 10, completion, here's the beginning, here's the culmination of that. So it's about doing all the work to get from one to another. So many of you may be receiving an opportunity to start something new in your life, whether it's a new job or a project of some kind. Do it. It's going to be really helpful and positive for you. It could even be a new relationship as well, although I'm not a huge believer in jumping right from one into the other, but because if we don't allow a certain amount of healing, then we'll take the baggage from it with us into the next relationship. So you know, sometimes it doesn't work out that way and sometimes it does. It just kind of depends on what Spirit puts in front of you. All right, Scorpio, that is your reading for the last half of January. I hope that you enjoyed it, or at least found it relevant and validating somehow. Again, if any of you are interested in reaching out for a personal one-on-one reading for yourself or as a gift for friends, family, and loved ones, particularly if this reading or any of them resonate with you, just click on the description link below for more info and contact details. Always feel free to contact me directly at Maggie1McGuire@gmail.com. I'd be most happy to work with you. I will see you all again in a couple of weeks for the February 2020 general readings. Until then, as always, I wish you much joy and love, a great transition into this new year, and I hope to see you back here again soon. Take care. Bye-bye.